Hi, we're here with the project budget for Charter to Conductor by Adam Nugent Rosenberger. This time is that has been elated since the submission and date. It's now changed for a website. The American Apprenticeship Initiative Grant. The American Apprenticeship Initiative goal is to have an excess of assets of the funding balance, deferred outflows, resources over liabilities. Deferred inflows of matching equate the funds of the government funds awarded. These balances are sorted in five distinction compromising hierarchy. Primary inflows of the control specific amount spended. The inflows are matched with accounted audited goals, milestones with correction, non-spendable, restricted, committed, assigned, and non-assigned funded balances, with a residual net position of awards funded for priority priority fiduciary funds awarded to proposed outcomes in assets of outflows and liabilities of resources. The capital outlay is found in the Department of Army pamphlet 41528, Construction Guide to Army Real Property Guide. Real property categories, funding authorization AR 3720. In the event that Paris, Florida Gulf Coast Railroad be awarded an American Apprenticeship Grant and acts as a campus with residing for a platoon-sized barracks, it would be able to achieve the apprenticeship required quota in 5 years. Given the Department of Labor, which will spend up to $10,000 per apprenticeship, a commissioner will do a visit once a year to examine the campus. For a Level 1 facility in the Florida campus, paying the Florida Administrative Code T6E 4.001 fees, expenses, and tuition rates for the program taught. The following supplies for the barracks and the federal codes of the supply or household as 7210, household commercial utilities 7240, cabinet lockers, bins and storing 7125, miscellaneous furniture fixtures 7195. Other real property should have been accompanying on the barracks under the regulations of 21050 Installation Housing Management, Title 49 CFR Part B, Chapter 2, Part 28. The houses of the service of hours for service railroad employees, record keeping, reporting, and sleeping quarters. This asset of the security real estate held in the production of the income form of the interest, dividends, rental, lease payments for each of these expected cashes with reason in cash within the year. The account does not include an asset is used in the school district's separate accounts for the category of the U.S. government securities loans. Sections 1011.14 Florida State Statute, State Board of Education, and Capital Outlay Bond Issuance Bonds. State Board Administrative Other Government Securities, U.S. Government Securities acquired by the District School Board, authorized by statute, held production of income in the form of interest. Loans, Section 1011. 14 amounts invested in loans, State Board of Education, Capital Outlay Bond Issuance, State Board of Education, Capital Outlay Bond Indebtedness issued on the behalf of the school district under Section 9, Article 12 of the State Constitution. State Board Administration amounts placed on the investment other securities of other government agencies authorized Florida State statute. Possible estimated public educational capital outlay, advance payable obligation for the repayment of public educational capital outlay (PECO) funds pursuant to Section 1013-64-2 Florida State statutes. Capital assets of the fixed capital outlay performing and land improvements, buildings, furniture, equipment, and all other tangible or intangible assets in performance with the operation and the performing vital useful lives extended beyond a single account period. If from donated funds, the capital asset should record the using of the fair market value at the time of the acquisition. A capital asset includes purchase price and other incurred for the land, such as legal fees, filing, excavation costs, other improvements to land are not subject to depreciation or improvement of other buildings. Red Book Asset Codes 13,000 capital asset addressed from the cost of land improvements of buildings, fixed equipment, furniture, equipment. The actual cost of construction is progress incurred by the date work undertaken but yet completed, reflecting expenditures of the total construction of the capital project funds versus the net present value of the lease payment, capitalizing assets, while the title property surpluses the value transferred to the appropriate capital assets accounts. Under 2340, the Red Book Lease Purchase Agreement is an issued financial tool for capital acquisition and construction. Lease purchase agreements are reported to a net unamortized premiums or discounts to state the net position of the agreements are disclosed in the notes of the financial statements. Other lease purchase agreements payable have an obligation from other tax-exempt programs that finance the cost of the acquisition, construction, installation, educational equipment for the facilities. State Board of Education on capital bond insurance. State Board of Education on capital bond insurance due to the balance on the principal under the section. Hello, testing. State Board of Educational capital bond issuance due to the balance on due on the principal under Section 9, Article 12 of the Constitution. Florida authorized requests based on the State Board of Education bonds of the local district school boards. The bonds do not have to be approved in the election referendum. The Department of Education has a resolution for valid proceeding. Request bids, prints, deliver the bonds sold, compute the required reserve and amount of the annual payment of the principal and bank charges. These bonds are designated State Board of Education capital outlay bond issuance and district payable bonds, recognized in Red Book 23 as Red Book as 2321. Specialized bonds have a principal on the bonds reviewing certificate issued by the district pursuant and authority granted by special acts of legislation, including pledging pari-mutuel revenue authorization pursuant to Chapter 550 Florida State statutes. Capital facilities acquisition, construction of payable principals issued due on bond. The debt is secured by the pledge of sales surtax revenue authorized in pursuant Section 212.055 Florida State Statutes. 2342 qualified zone academy bonds. Payable tax credits categorized as a lease purchase obligation. School district that provide federal tax credits in lieu of the interest of the payments for the certificate holder. The proceeds of the bonds may be used for rehabilitation, repairing public school facilities, investing in new equipment, technology, developing challenging courses, materials, training teachers, but cannot be used for new school construction. Qualified school construction bond. Tax credit bonds categorized at least of the purchase of obligation obligations authorized under the American Recovery Reinvestment Act to finance the school construction, other eligibility projects for public school with which bondholders receive federal tax and credit in lieu of the school district paying interest in the borrowing. Enlisted personnel, unaccompanied personnel, housing, like this is the construction guide, property, PAM. In addition, enlisted personnel, accompanied personnel, housing continued. This CAT CD is 72181. The long title is Training Barracks, short title is Trainee Barracks, Facility Type Building, UM1. SF, UM2, SP, Program UMPN, FAC 7218, FCG 572181, Proponent, ACSIM Housing, GLAC 1730, Investment Code 15. In Paris, Florida Gulf Coast Railroad Museum, because of the campus with the barracks, it may call for a mess hall facilities and unified facilities criteria 4722. And 1. The planning design issue files the number of the personnel to be served, staffing, meal schedule, duration, payment of food, establishing auditing system for utilizing food delivery, eating methods for purchasing federal supplies, 7320 kitchen equipment, appliances, 7310 food, cooking, baking services equipment. With an example I found for another college, estimated cost cafeteria tuition meal pay planned for the housing, estimated residential cost cafeteria for semester meal plans, it should range about $18,000 per semester. The following stands as Army real property categories codes that applies to the mesh hall. Unaccompanied personnel housing mess facility, CAT code or CAT CD 722210, long title dining facility, short title dining facility, facility type building, UM1 SF, UM2 PN, program UNPN, FAC 7220, FCG F72200, proponent DCS G4 GLC 1730 Investment Code 15. There are certain eligibilities that must provide in order for the barracks, such as separate toilets, shower buildings for male and female personnel. Everyone shall have a toiletry committees or utility function with the daily life. A suitable laundry room or miscellaneous buildings such as lounges, recreational facilities. Cat Code 73075. Long title separate toilet shower building, short title separate toilet showers, facility type building UM1 SF, UM2 non program UM SF, FAC 7385, FCG F73075, proponent ACSIM, facilities GLs AC 730, investment code 16, table B90, detachable unaccompanied personal housing, facility 723, cat code 720. 72 30 up UPH laundry building detached, short title UPH laundry detached, facility building UM1 SF, UM2 none, program UM SF, FAC 7231, FS2 300, proponent ACSIM, facilities GLC 1730, investment code is 15, cat code 72360, miscellaneous facilities detached, miscellaneous facility buildings SFS, UM1, UM2 none, program UM SF, FAC 7231, FSCG 723060, proponent ACSIM, facilities GLC 1730, investment code 15. A description: a detached building used as a lounge by unaccompanied troops for informal entertainment recreation activities. The building is designed to support a specific units that are without day room facilities in their barracks. Also report soldier community buildings with this category. CAT CD 61065, a long title technical library, short title technical library, facility building UM1 SF, UM2 none, program UM SF, FAC 6100, FSCG 5, FCG F60000, proponent DCS G1 GLC GLAC 1730, investment code 14, a complete building description: a complete building of a portion of existing building using housing various specialized library references, for example, engineering, medical law, and scientific, technical, and so on, for formal technical library collections of 1,000 volumes or greater, exclusive periodicals. The post office that is at parish should be suitable to act as administrative office of the apprenticeship. Physical address: the standing office of the Florida Gulf Coast Railroad, acting as a communication under the associated with the performance of American Amtrak stations and locomotives. A place of printing and binding a technical maintenance order within the form's issuance due to the freight transportation commercial enterprise dispatching. There's no need for the building of issuances given that there is a post office on the facility and Arcadia post office across the street from the ticket office. On federal bought offices accessories within 7490 miscellaneous office machines. Cat CD 73073, long title post office main, short title post office main, PO main, facility type building UM1 SF, UM2 none, program UM SF, FAC 734, FCG F73073, proponent DCS G1 GLAC 1730, investment code 16. The Car House Candy Shop has given a crazy lesson to the passengers, including a sandwich bag with an illustration of the specifics to find on the maintaining cars in the salvage yard for inspection and maintenance. The two passenger cars can be renovated to be educational facilities or ancillary labs. One performing as a test facility and the other is an instructional room, while the other is a computer lab for higher educational learning and get TRADOC assistance. An education facility is built to the state-required educational facility specifications that would be in the first bid on reluctable portable classrooms or state infrastructure thrift with Florida schools furnishing a classroom or secondary items, or the zone of the areas of the qualified school. Construction of the education facility meets the needs of state requirements of the grounds of Florida Gulf Coast Railroad Museum. One classroom and one computer lab. One classroom and a computer lab to be compatible with the depot training facility, testing study site for the models, locomotive situational formal testing for charter to conductor. Other facilities administrated that can come from the neighboring schools in the district and Florida Gulf Coast Railroad can be used as secondary depot Expo training facility provides the hires mobile with a school and the employer. This is not part of my lead application. CATCD 74025. Army Continuing Educational System Facility, ACE's facility. Building SF facility type building UMSF UM2 none, program UMSF FAC 7351 FCG F74025, proponent Department Chief Staff G3 GLAC 1730, investment code 16. Provided the library may be applicable depending on the amount of textbooks and other technical orders be bought, depending on the amount of the classrooms it's set to provide, and it may also be that the sum of the buildings as a computer lab. For checking out individual educational career paths chosen for the curricular activities and independent certification. CAT code 74041, Library Main, short title Library Main, type building type, facility type building UM1 SF UM2 none, program UMSF FAC 74116. FCG F74041, proponent DCS G1 GLAC 1730, investment code 16. Given Paris, Florida Gulf Coast Railroad Museum ancillary tracks for restoration depot study with the locomotive maintenance car. The set of the tracks can be used for the model track design rehabilitation to be done to the depot. Provide auxiliary tracks for model station locomotive operation. Following the conductor set out reports and at-wheel reports while becoming a mechanical dealing with all cars, passenger to freight to diesel electrical locomotives while joyride a steam engine, chance to learn construction, track maintenance, and locomotive operation. Federal Railroad Administration Office of Management Budget number 2130-0458. A railroad improvement and financial program loan application that may be able to Workforce Development Rehabilitation or Improvement Acts on this application. Title 49 CFR Part B Part 256, Financial Assistance for Railroad Passenger Terminals. Title 49 CFR Part 260, Regulations Governing Laws and Loan Guarantees under the Railroad Rehabilitation Improvement Financial Programs. Credit Assistance for Surface Transportation Projects. This is Title Federal Regulation, Title 49 Part B 261, Capital Outlay and implementation of a program plan relocation improvement projects, CFR Part 262. Railroad Tracks 860. This is a code out of the construction property book. CAT code CAT CD 86010. Long title Railroad Tracks, short title Railroad Tracks, facility type structure UM1 none, UM2 MI, program UMMI, FAC 8601, FCG 5860000. Proponent Department of Chief of Staff G4 GLAC 1740, investment code 18. Alright, now getting into something else. Following Army Regulations 1.1, the Planning, Programming, Budget, Execution System, Quarter Financial Statements. DA Form 1559, Inspector General Request. For auditing, inspecting facilities with the Tract Office of Inspection General. To Cost Standards Board disclosure statements required by public law and educational institutions form the Office Management Budget number 03480055, Budget Information, Office Management Budget, Construction Approval Programs, Assurance, Non-Constructive Office Management Budget A102, Defensive Acquisition Series 5000, the following Department of Defensive forms and DA forms. I'll read. It's the Department of Defense Form 0165, Shipments of Funds DOD Form 0314, Statement of Change DOD Form 0362, Costs DOD Form 0707, Reported Depots, Reported Deposits DOD 0708, Inventory Adjustment DOD Forms 1069, Military Pay Adjustment DOD Form 0139, Payment Adjustment DOD Form 1084, Bond Issuance Schedule DOD Form 1137, Cash DOD Form 1155, Order Supplies and Services DOD Form 1162, Schedules of Services DOD Form 1162-1, Adjustment of Services and Statements DA Form under the right hand column. The DA Forms 1085, Management Information required by the DA OP product. DA Form 13,000 under /3, Accounting Transfer. DA Form 1323, Funding Authorization. DA Form 1323 underscore 1 funding authorization schedule. DA Form 1506 statement of services of competition. DA Form 1599 inspector general request. DA Form bond of safekeeping of government property issued to educational institutions. DA Form 1624 liability and property loss. Okay, now we're going to go to the DoD form. Time narrative 1335. 1335 is the time narrative Department of Defense form. DoD Department of Defense form 0135 transfer acceptance of DoD property. DoD form 1423 commercial 1423-1 commercial data. DoD form 1586 contract fund transfer. DoD form 1597 contract closeout. DoD form 1637 net notice of acceptance. DoD form 1638 reported disposition contract or inventory. DoD form 1727 work distribution chart. DoD form 1861 contracted facilities. DA form 1668 small claims court. Sorry. On the DA form side, the DA form 1668 small claims of contract. DA form 1678 receipt of the supplies. DA form 1845 scheduled manpower schedule of services. DA form claims of schedule. DA form 1994 petty cash voucher. DA form 2001 commercial insurance. DA form 2056 claims insurance. DA form 2030 active tax list capital cost money. DA Form 2107 receipt of distribution of cash. DA Form 2363 subsidiary currency ledger. DA Form 2009 R contracting of utility services. DA Form 3328 property record request. DA Form 3180 inventory statements. DA Form 3234 monetary inventory record sheets. DA Form 3234 inventory record sheet. Inventory record sheets. DA Form 3822 non-appropriate fund balance. DA Form 4283 facility engineering work request. DA Form 4444 inventory adjustments report. DA Form 4881 request for the approval of construction and lease agreement. DA Form 4944 report of legal assistance services. DA Form 5108 documentation productive by capital investment programs. DA Form 5353 bank reconciliation sheet. DA Form 5479 contracting discipline. DA Form 5678 policy and statement memorandum of understanding the participation of a U.S. Army potential contracting program. Southern Central Regional Bank supplies the CHR CPOL permissible course program paying teachers of $25,000 in Smart Pay to the SES Transportation other creditable program areas. Other teachers' salaries within the tuition work study program on the job or study for work following the Red Book Code 3315 Workforce Development Army Staffing DA Form 5 with the Journey Workers or School Staffing Title 49 Code for Federal Regulation Part 240. The SAIC implementation of the past employment of the PHSADS SIDOM number CHCS to Composite Healthcare System SIAC SIDOMS documentation D2SISO 5010 CNET 200 employee owned 200. The department that's basically a healthcare employee owned. I guess the healthcare part of the section. The Department of Transportation paying up the award of the Department of Transport paying upward of above $250,000. Department of Transportation license as a contractor in the state of Florida. If under the grant has the filed the chapter of filed Florida State Chapter 600 Articles of Incorporation, or state infrastructure work study implementations, follow the program objective as a milestone and feasible outcomes following when applicable procedure and policy for the Florida Public Service Commissions. Chapter 1, Data Item Description of the Data Defensive Item Financial 808164 Price Estimated Methodology for Unit Measuring UM Prices. Preparatory contract for includes the specific discrete work task of developing estimated contractual prices for the program support letter addendum following the program support letter for the contractor's facility item-to-item building modification required equipment configuration to support the installation apprenticeship addendum amended in accordance with the Engineering Installation Center Regulation 115 by contractor name, item reference, part number, manufacturer name, federal supply code of the manufacturer, provisional activity, receiving the report and the date prepared, evaluation analysis, material cost, man hours, applicable man hour cost rate, overhead, general administrative inspection, handling of vendor parts and vendor parts only, and profit. Chapter 3, Red Book Revenue Accounts Codes of the Accounting of the Chart of the Conductor of Revenue Codes. 3100 Federal District, 3120 Federal Impact, 3170 Workforce Investment, 3191 Reverse Officer and Training Corps ROTC, 3199 Miscellaneous Federal District, 3200 Federal Thought Out State and Local, 32101 Vocational Educational Acts, 3202 Medicaid, 3214 Race to the Top, 3215 Educational Job Acts, 3220 Workforce Investment Act, 3325 Teacher Principal Training Accreditation, 3227 Drug-Free Schools, 3330 Individual Disability Educational Act, 3240 Elementary Secondary Educational Title, 3251 Educational General Education, 3253 Vocational Rehabilitation, 3261 School Fund Reimbursement, 3300 Revenues and State Sources, 3310 Florida Educational Finance Program, or FEFP, 3315 Workforce Development, 3316 Workforce Development Capitalization Incentive Grant, 3317 Workforce Educational Performance Incentives Grants and Adults with Disabilities, 3121 Capital Outlay Debt Services Distributed Capital, 3322 Capital Outlay and Debt Services Withheld for the State Board of Education Capital Outlay Bond Issuance Bonds. 3223 Capital Outlay Debt Services Withheld and Administrative Expenditure, 3325 Interest Undisturbed Capital Outlay Debt Services, 326 State Board of Education Capital Outlay Business and Capital Outlay Bond Issuance Bond Interest, 3343 State License and Tax, 3344 District Discretionary Lottery Funds. Miscellaneous state revenues, 3391 Public Educational Capital Outlay School Infrastructure Theft, the SIP program at 300, the Red Book Code 3394 Efforts of Index Grants, 3397 these are miscellaneous revenues. 3394 Efforts of Index Grants, 3397 Charter School Capital Outlay Fundings, 3410 Taxes, 3411 District School Taxes, 3412 District Debt Service Taxes, 3413 District Local Capital Improvement Tax, 3418 County Local Sales Tax, 3419 School District Local Sales Tax, 3421 Tax Redemption, 3422 Payments in lieu of taxes, 3423 Excess fees, 3424 Tuition, 3425 Rent, 3430 Investment income, 3450 Food services, 3433 Net increase decrease in the fair value investment, 3432 Gain of the sale of investment, 3431 Interest of investment, 3431 Interest in investment, 3432 gains of sales of investment, 3433 Net increase decrease of the fair value of investments, 3440 Gifts, grants, and bequests, and 3450 Food services. 3463 Continuing Workforce Education Course Fees charged pursuant to Section 1009.22 Florida State Statute, 3464 Capital Improvement Fees, 3465 Post-Secondary Lab Fees, 3480 Operating Revenues, 3481 Changing for Service, 3482 Charges for Service, 3481 Premium Revenue, 3489 Other Operating Revenues, 3493 Sales of Junk, Receipt of 3494 Receipt of Federal Indirect Cost Rates, 3495 Other Miscellaneous Local Sources, 3496 Impacts, 3497 Refunds of prior year's expenditure, 3498 Collections of lost, damaged, sold textbooks, 3499 Receipts of food service indirect costs. Okay, 36 through 3700 Other Financing Sources. 3610 Transfer to General Funds, 3620 Transfer to Debit Service, 3630 Transfer to Capital Project Funds, 3640 Transfer to Special Revenue Funds, 3650 Interfund, 3660 Transfer of Permanent Funds, 3670 Transfer Internal Service Funds, 3690 Transfer Enterprise Funds, 3700 the face of the long-term debt sales of the capital assets, 3710 issuing bonds, 3711 State Board of Educational Capital Outlay Bond Issuance bonds. 3712 district bonds, 3713 special act bonds, 3714 motor vehicle license revenue bonds, 3715 face value of revenue refunding bonds, 3716 sales service tax, 3730 sales of capital assets, 3731 sales of lands, 3732 sales of buildings, sales of equipment, 3733, 3720 loans, 3721 section 1011-14 and 1011-15 Florida State Statute, 3722 bond anticipation land, 3724 capital lease agreements, 3740 loss of recoveries, 3741 insurance recovery, 3742 other loss recoveries, 3750 proceeds of lease purchases, 3751 certification participation or COPS, 3752 qualified academies, qualified zone academy, qualified zone academy bonds, qualified school construction bonds, 3753, 754, Building America bonds, 755, refunding lease purchase agreement, 3759, other lease purchase agreement, 3760, proceeds of Ford supply contract, 3770, proceeds of special faculty construction account, 3780, gain of disposition assets. Our goal is to keep the service sale of bonds of the capital outlay of the apprenticeship assets of the Florida Gulf Coast, lease purchase agreements, and balancing long-term debt and refunds to service the Department of Labor apprenticeship service capacity under the GAS Government Accounting Safety something board concept to enable the school to provide educational services. To have designated custodian for all current assets, other assets convertible to cash in 1 year operating cycle on bonds, warranted deposits of official agents such as banks for payment of the normal operating expenditure subject to of withdrawal. Small petty cash fund for hand for small obligations for formal vouchers or checks are ineffective. All as well as charge funds with official agents deposited in commercial banks for payment of matured bonds for interest and self-insurance plan agent advancing escrow deposits. Collected interest from assets germinated during the duration of the deposits is rate and cash on hand assets. Red Book assets 1120. Tax receivable. Assets of tax are part of the government unit of the levied and billed. Taxes were levied in the current operating year but are uncollected. The account should be closed by June 30th. Amounts held by the tax collector on the behalf of the district school board should be recorded in account with 1220 due from other agencies. That's Red Book. Assets include amount of interest receivable investment, excluding purchase interest amounts and recovered for reimbursed insurance policies. Deposits receivable funds deposited by the school district as a prerequisite in receiving the goods and services. Amounts due from other government units within the revenues of federal through state, and other sources of disbursement made in the official period are reflected in expenditures and expenses in subsequent official periods. The Federal Railroad Administration Office of Railroad Policy and Development at 20,000 New Jersey Southeast, Mail Stop 220 in Washington, D.C. Therefore, the legal issues of the FRA policy of the Educational Institution for the Railroad computations on how to go about chartered conductor, legislation and litigation on developing apprenticeship for the United States under the Code Federal Regulation, the United States Code, applicable policy, circular activities, and need for the start of the journey work in the field. For instance, FRA 45 U.S. Standard Code 823, Administrative Direct Loans and Guarantees. The request for application and request for proposal capital outlay debit services approved for the school application training standards of 144 hybrid credit in the OA listings. Florida Administrative Code 6A 1085, Florida Basic Initial Funding Account has Red Book has funded structures of Florida Congressional District 16, the Florida Gulf Coast Railroad. The record changes other financial resources together with the related equity balances. Funds are segregated with the purpose of carrying out specific activities, attaining certain objectives in accordance with special regulations, restrictions, limitations by the NCGA or the American Accounting Principles. Federal General Accepted Principles of the GAAP for governments. Governments found are listed follows: general special revenue, debt service, capital funds, permanent priority funds are either enterprise or internal service funds. Finally, fiduciaries have a pension trust fund and the investment trust fund and private purpose trust funds for agencies funded. The following Florida administrative codes are these funds: 6A Florida Administrative Code 6A10091, purchase of initial funds; 6A140765, investment funds; Florida Administrative Code 6A140715, transfer funds of Florida State Board of Education; finance and administrative for community colleges, but it is actually 6A23, the apprenticeship programs. If it goes to community college, charter school, vocational, I don't know if it goes. 6A100112, minimum security measures for the direct deposit electronic trust funds or other mediums to the Higher Educational Office Management of Budget of the DCAA or Amtrak's Office Inspector General. 6A1, Florida Administrative Code 6A1013, audits of the Direct Support Organization or of 6A10402, school district annual reports of Department of Labor quarterly report. 6A14054, student fee refunds. Freedom of Information Government Accounting Office recognized railroad accounting with the Florida Administrative Code 6A14075, receipts, deposits, withdrawals, and funds of the DoD contracting facilities, statements, reports put on referendum or reference posted to the Freedom of Information Act. It's titled 6A10032, contractual programs at facilities, and 6A1023, procedures of construction professional services and advancing FY_military construction, making military standard 2450 statements of work under competitive bids or DA Form 42A3, facility engineering. 6A1011, project construction accounting capital outlay project. 6A2001, educational facilities meeting standard requirement, educational facility standards in the state of Florida, visited and commissioned by 6A220020, charter school capital outlay. 6A20030, charter school qualified construction board programming. 6A140764, capital outlay bond narrative budget documentation for education, DA Form 5108, capital investment program, DA Form 5479, contractual discrepancy report and assurance and compliance. In tradition with the USAR Board of Apprenticeships, DA Form 3356, staffing of the Board of Administrative Amendments. The USAR Board take enrollments are listed as the AMS TRQX Godfellow has enlisted there through 12 months of 1,000 hours, whichever comes faster. The apprenticeship after the equivalent be boarded over the USAR, the Department of Defense Educational Program reporting, making using the contractual funds reporting, the Department of Energy, the Department of Labor, the Department of Education, and the Department of Labor contracting. Discrepancy of the contractual funds given to the Department of Labor. Notices of apprenticeship of the Department of Defense Form 1638, reported disposition of scheduled contracts. 6A10402, school and district annual reports, Florida Department of Education quarterly financial statement. 6A1008, and executing the budget. 6A1007, budget funds. 6A1006, and progress reports. Lastly, a contract closeout in the Department of Defense 1547 within each and last year ending at 6A0018, official reporting. Florida Administrative Code official reporting. Florida Administrative Code 6A22009, employee responsibilities with contractor dealing with the personnel salary sum within the Florida Administrative Code 6A14, employment contracts for the full-time facilities by 6A's Florida Administrative Code 6A1052, salary schedule to be adopted by all personnel. Equal opportunity will be given by the GSA 5003 /14, a new hire personnel checklist. Filing with the Department of Defense 0593, payroll, the personnel GSA Human Resources 5005-14, the ability to volunteer intern, DA Form 47136, volunteer inform shirts at DA Form 4713, and Florida Administrative Code 6A1908, educational workforce financing apprenticeship program under the United States Standard Code, employee organization tracking and data defense item financials department, DO 80331, funding of the man hours within the Red Book. 3315, work development. 3316, workforce development capital incentive grant. 3317 Workforce of Educational Reference Incentives or COP Certification Participation Payable may follow the Red Book 2341 Lease Purchase Obligation as informs of the issuances participation financial instruments the provided issuer to cash financing construction capital and acquisition under the full faith and credit of the school district has not pledged the payment. The Red Book 114 other posted benefits assets accounting of the funded other post employment benefits assets set aside to pay future benefits resulting in a net obligation assessed for the government-wide and pro-priority funded financial statement presentation. Loan proceeding as any interest earnings therefore placed in an irrevocable escrow account pursuant to section 110.11.13.2 Florida Administrative Code. Prepaid insurance costs associated with the issuance of the debt to be recognized as an expensive, systematic, rational manner over the duration of related debt and non-current assets investment that are not reasonably expected to be fulfilled in the cash of each year. Okay, Florida Department of Education Form 101, Florida A Red Book Object Codes and Titles. The function Object Code 100, salaries and regular pay. Overtime, supplements, pet terminal payment, sick leave, buyback, 6 pet sabbatical leave, 7 merit bay, 8, 9 not assigned, 9 others. And then in the function code, you see 55,000, 5,200, 53, 54, 50, 59, 60, 61, 60, 61.1, 61.2, 61.3, 61.5, 62, 63, 64, 65, 700, 75, 10.1, 75, 77, 77.1, 77.2, 77.3, 77.6, 7.7.9. They don't have points in it, but like the object codes, staff administration 100, 200 is classroom. They got the codes over here. 120 is classroom teachers. 130 is other certified staff. 150, 160 other support personnel. A board of members and attorneys. Benefits, health insurance, life insurance, commercial merit insurance, immunity plan and certificate, and other federal insurance contribution act. 220 employee boards, employee board members, 230 group insurance, 240 workman compensation, 250 unemployment compensation, 260 other employee benefits, 300 purchase services, 310 professional technical services, 311 sub awards under the sub reference first $225,000, 312 sub awards sub agreements of excess of $25,000, 3020 issuance insurance bond revenue, 330 travel, 350 repairs man hours, 360 rentals, 370 communications, 380 public services non-energy services, 390 other purchase services, 391 sub agreements in excess of $25,000, 392, 400 energy services, 422 natural gas, 430 electrical, 440 heating oil, 450 gasoline, 460 diesel, 490 other energy services, 500 material supplies, 510 supplies, 520 textbooks, 530 periodicals, 540 oil and grease, 550 repair parts, 570 food, 580 commodities, 590 other material supplies, 600 capital outlay, 610 library book, 620 audiovisual non-consumable, 621 capitalized AV material, 622 non-capitalized AV material, audiovisual material, 63 building materials, fixtures and equipment, 640 furniture, equipment and equipment, 641 capitalized furniture equipment, 642 non-capitalized furniture, fixture and equipment, 643 capitalized computer hardware, 644 non-capitalized computer hardware, 650 motor vehicles, 651 buses, 652 other material vehicles, 666, 660 land, 670 improvement of other new buildings, 672 other capitalized funds improvements non-finished, 680 revenue and non-revenue, 690 software computer, 691 capitalized software, 692 non-capitalized, 700 other, 720 interest, 730 dues and fees, 740 judgment settlement litigation against the school system, 750 other personal services, 760 payment of refunds exchanged agent, 761 payment of the book, excess agent, 770 claims, 790 miscellaneous, 810 loss of disposition of assets, 890 discount long-term debt, 891 discount of sales of the bonds, 892 discount of the revenue bonds, No, sure. 893. Discount of the large purchase agreement. 894. 894. Discount of refunding lease purchase. 900 transfer. 910 transfer to general funds. 920 transfer of debit services funds. 930 transfer of capital project funds. 940 transfer of revenue funds. 950 transfer of permanent funds. Transfer of internal funds. Internal services. 1960 to 1970. 970 transfer internal services funds. 990 transfer integration funds. The IET Initial Training Handbook pamphlet, DA pamphlet 604 and 117 managing personal finance. Employees must be placed on a SurePay program that may enroll a SurePay program. This means uh, employees may be placed in the SurePay program, may enroll in the SurePay program. This means that you must have a paycheck deposited directly in a checking and savings account. If you close and change the account, you must ensure that you are going to a local PAC to file the proper forms to update the SurePay data. Employees may choose to close, change this account. You may ensure that they are going local on the PAC. File the proper forms to update the SurePay data. Once per month for the first month, twice month on the 1st or the 15th, your choice, based on the budget requirements. When the DIMHRS takes effect, you will be 2 times a month. Employees must carefully review their monthly leave earnings statement and to ensure that the pay is being deposited properly and employees are receiving all benefits. Base pay, BHH, basic allowance, housing, etc. they are entitled to. A Smart Pay CPFSSIC May 2000. Master contract of Smart Pay for the Worldwide Federal Supply Service contract contracting purchase travel fleet integrated card services to pay mobile expenditures travel vouchers. The General Service Administrative Solicitation number FCX CG1 06001 dash N NAICS F2 2110 F22210 contracting period at before November 29, 2018. Smart cards also given the CPL permissible acted as teaching. 115 Initial Entry Training Handbook of the DAPAM 604 Housing. For those that are on post housing, will furnish the campusing and comply with the government quarters housing allowance of all apprenticeship candidates and cadets, given the housing area in the barracks for enrolled personnel. These installations may be adequate for housing under the Inspector General. If the housing is not available, your name will be put on a waiting list, or you must find off-post accommodations. Optional Red Book codes. Optional object codes include the administrative program, sponsored teachers, other staffing, certified participants of student employment jobs, including cafeteria and internship. 324 excess fees. These are like the student fees I came up with. You'd have excess fees, tuition, books, rent, food, services, student lunches, student breakfast, adult breakfast and lunches, student adult e carte, student snacks, other food services, student fees, adult general education course fees, post-secondary vocational course fees, conditional workforce education courses, capital improvement fees, post and secondary lab, other student fees, and bus fees. The A Form 3034 production schedules, the AA 3136 rosters and statements. Florida Administrative Code 6A109983. Fees of the program class is not part of required public schools. 6A14054 student fees. 6A14541 student fees refunds. 6A19005 student financial assistance. 6A19003 health services. 6A100044 residence for tuition purposes. 6A140542 tuition waivers of classroom teachers. And that is the. And people, I do have some little bit more work to do, but I haven't procured it yet. So this is the final draft of the project budget narrative for the chartered conductor. I hope you found this intellectually there. All right.